In this video, I'm going to give you a full tutorial on adding SEOPress to your website. We're going to go over the free version and the pro version. It just has a few extra features that come along with it, and we're going to implement that on your website today. Hi, my name is Adam from WPCrafter.com, where we go over tactics and tutorials to grow your income and influence online. If that interests you, consider clicking on the subscribe button, and to not miss a thing, go ahead and click on that notification bell. So here we are. This is SEOPress's website. You can get here by going to WPCrafter.com/SEOPress. Now, it's also a free plugin that you would install and activate on your website by just going to Plugins, Add New, do a search for SEOPress, and it's going to be right there. The paid version is a really good deal. It's only $40, and you can install it on unlimited sites. Just to give you an idea of that, if you went with a solution like Yoast, you're looking at about, I think I added it up, and it came out to $271 per website, where this is $40 for unlimited websites. So it is a pretty good deal. So let's go over how this is going to work. I've got two websites. One of them right here says SEOPress Pro as the title, and this is going to be the one that has the pro version installed. And I have another one right here, SEOPress Free, and this is just going to have the free version of SEOPress installed on the website. And during the video, I might go back and forth just to point out some of the features in the Pro and how to configure that, just so that this video can be for everyone that's using this plugin. And this plugin is very popular with agency owners because of the very attractive pricing, and it's a beautiful plugin. I recently did a video comparing SEO plugins, and SEOPress came out on top in every regard pretty much. So let's just go ahead and jump in. Let me actually stop for a second and let you know that an SEO plugin is not some miraculous solution to have a website that ranks well in Google. It's just not. It's going to help you with the technical aspects on your WordPress website so that search engines are going to have a better understanding of what your website is all about. But it's not some magic bullet where you just install this and then bam, all of a sudden you get an avalanche of traffic. That's just not how it works. You're going to have content. You're going to have a content strategy. It's going to help you with all the on-page SEO aspects of your website. But I will let you know that for the less competitive keyword phrases, on-page SEO is pretty much all that you really need to get dialed in order to get some really good rankings for your various websites. Okay, so I have already installed SEOPress on both of these websites. So if I go to plugins on each, here is the Pro one. So with the Pro, you download and install the free version from the WordPress plugin directory, and then you have this Pro add-on pack. And so here's the free version only. So let's go ahead and jump straight on into the settings, and I'll just do it for both. It's going to be pretty much the same for most of what I'm going to go through here. So you're immediately met with this notification center. Now let me tell you, a lot of what I'm pointing out right now, you can disable in the settings, and we're going to take a look at the settings of the plugin first. So this is actually very helpful though. It has a little notification center. Now you can click on the little trash can here and get rid of any of these notifications. However, I think it's great that they are there to kind of guide you on a path in order to check off all the boxes to make sure your website is everything that it needs. So number one, it's recommending an SSL certificate. You should really have an SSL certificate. I have a video on that. I'll put a link in the video description box below. And then it's giving you some warnings about your RSS feed, and we're going to get into that in a moment. It's asking for a review, and that's okay. I would definitely recommend giving them a review. And there's just a couple of other warnings. Here's a really nice one though. It's asking you if you have a Google My Business page. Now that is for local businesses, and you can go ahead and click on this link right here. It will take you over to Google My Business. You can go ahead and create an account, fill all that information out to get a proper Google listing for your business if it's a local business. And then this last one is very important, is to add your website, and this is what you want for every website that you have or manage. You want to make sure it is registered with Google Webmaster Tools, or also referred to as the Google Search Console. Now what happens is when you click on this button, it will take you over there. If you do not have a Google account, you're going to just go through little steps to create the Google account. And then right here, you will click this red button right here that says Add Property. You'll go ahead and click on this, pop in the URL, and it's going to give you a little code or a downloadable file that you can add to your website in order to make the connection and verify the website. You absolutely want to do this. And so with the little bit of code, there's going to be a spot to place it here inside of SEOPress. Now with SEOPress, you also have a couple tabs right here. So right here, we just have a useful links tab, and you can leave this here or turn it off in the settings. However, in the Pro version, you also have a option right here that says SEO tools. And these are nice to have. I can click on this button right here, Get List. And if your website is on shared hosting, you click on this and it will tell you all the other URLs or websites that are also hosted on the same web server. This is good because you probably don't want your business site or anything like that on a website with maybe adult related content or some questionable content that you might not want. Okay, and then right here you can set in to be emailed when your domain is going to expire. That's always good. You'd be surprised at how many people let their domain expire, and then you can get your Alexa rank here. So those are just the first little batches of differences right there. We're going to initially work our way backwards with this list right here of settings. So I'm going to start in Tools. Now it's important to note, if you have a website that has Yoast and maybe you want to switch to SEOPress, there's a way to easily switch. Okay. So in the tools, we're going to get the option to export our settings, import our settings, and then here is the option to migrate the data that you've already perhaps added to Yoast to pull that into SEOPress. So you can just go ahead and read this, click on Migrate Now, and it's going to migrate that data so it's going to be available in SEOPress. Here's an option to reset your notifications and reset all of your settings. So now let's go ahead and click on Advanced. We're kind of working our way backwards here. Now for Advanced, we have these three options: Advanced, Appearance, and then Security. And this is probably why I want to go backwards, is because I want to show you that you have control over the appearance of the plugin. And I'm still in the free version here. It's going to probably be the exact same as the paid version right here. It's the same three tabs. Okay, so we're still in the free version. So here's going to be some various options for the technical SEO aspects of the website. Make sure before you enable any of these that you know exactly what you're doing. So here is one that Yoast, for example, has on by default. I actually don't like this feature. If you enable this, it's going to remove stop words from the URL. So if you go to create a new blog post and it has a few words in it that the plugin might not be so important to SEO, it'll just remove those. These would be words like it, a, to, things like that. I don't recommend having this checked. As a matter of fact, I recommend customizing every URL for every blog post, and I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. And here's another one. This is probably not recommended. So if you have categories for your blog posts and you assign different blog posts to categories, well, when you're looking at the URL for a category, it has your domain name, then it has the word category, and then it has the name of the category. And this would strip category out of that URL. I wouldn't enable that. And a lot of these options here, I would recommend just make sure you know what you're doing before you enable them, but you don't really need to enable them. Now here's where that Google site verification code would go that we just got out of the Google search engine console. You would go ahead and paste that right here. Let me show you how to get that really quick. After you've added your website to Google search engine console, it'll say not verified. Off to the right here, it says manage property. There's an option that says verify this property. Go ahead and click on that, and it's telling you what you need to do in order to verify that you own and control this website. What you would do here is click on alternate methods, and then right here you would click on HTML tag, and it will show you what you need to copy and paste in there. So you just copy this right here, and then you go ahead and paste that in right there, and that's all that you would need to do. Save the changes and then go ahead and check to see if it's verified. That's pretty much all there is to getting your site linked up. Okay, let's go into the appearance settings right here. So you get some robust options of the appearance of SEOPress. So right here you can remove it from the admin bar. So if you see right here, this is the admin bar. I usually don't like plugins adding anything to the admin bar, and SEOPress will give you an option to remove that. Next is an option of where the plugin is in the menu list right here. Here's where you can hide the notification center, the SEO tools, and the useful links that I just showed you in the very beginning of this video. I like that you get these options to have that kind of granular control. Now, the rest of these options here, you're going to want to know what you're enabling. Like I said before, I would go ahead and suggest leaving them all as the default at this point. Okay, so let's jump into security, and this is going to allow you to have control over who gets to see the option box in a post or a page. So when we go into a post or a page in a moment, we're going to see how there is a spot to put some SEO related information, and that's really the bread and butter of any SEO plugin, but you get control over who would see it based upon their user level right here. So if it's just you logging into your website, you can just leave that as is. Okay, so I'm going to jump back into the dashboard and we're going to start going over some of the options. Now, when you scroll down on the free version, you're going to get titles and meta. So this is going to be your site titles, your titles for categories and all that. We're going to go through that in a minute. Here's for your site maps. Now, what is very cool is that the free version includes an image sitemap and an HTML sitemap. The pro version comes with a video sitemap. Social networking settings, your Google Analytics. So what this means is you're going to be able to use this instead of a Google Analytics plugin on your website or having the little snippet of code in the footer or whatever location in your website. We have some advanced options, which you already covered, and we've already covered tools. Now, when you're in the professional version, let me go back to the dashboard, there's some additional options. And what's nice is you can toggle these on or off or click manage to jump right into those settings. But if you notice, we also have an option here in the menu on the left. Okay, so advanced. Now this is where you see the pro stuff. Okay, you can do SEO to WooCommerce product pages. That's included in pro or easy digital downloads. Now it's smart enough to know I don't have WooCommerce or easy digital downloads installed on this website, so these are off by default. Local business, this is actually very good as well to give Google as much information about your website if you're a local business, to give that local business information. You can toggle this off if you're not a local business. So for me, I would have that toggled off. Dublin Core, this has to do with some metadata. Structured data types, what this is going to allow you to do is to get some rich snippets on your search engine pages when your various pieces of content are there. So if you have recipes, it supports that, and several other of those structured data types. Breadcrumbs, Google page speed, it'll just check that for you. You have control over your robots.txt file. Most people will not need to get into that. Google News Sitemap, this is really cool. I'm going to show you that later in the video, but this is where the most recent content you've published on your blog will show as, or Google will have the option of listing that as current news. So whenever you type a current news event in Google, you'll see these cards, and it usually will say, you know, this was 18 hours ago and this was 24 hours ago. That's Google News. You can get into Google News with this enabled. Redirection, so this is if you need to do redirects. They have a little bot to find broken links, backlinks if you have Majestic API, which I do not have. URL rewriting, htaccess, control over your RSS feed, and you can see there's a lot to this. Okay, let's get back to the free version. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over these settings, and then we're going to jump into a blog post or a website page in order for you to see what information you would want to put in there to SEO optimizes those pieces of content. Okay, so first I'm going to click on titles and meta. Now right here is where you're going to put the site title for your website. Now by default, it's going to use the site title that you actually have in the settings of your plugin. Let me show you where this is important. So here I am. I just searched for WPCrafter here on Google, and you see this bit right here. This right here is your site title. So you get full control over that site title for your website right here. So if you didn't want what is set into, it's going to be under settings and then general, you can put whatever you want right here. And the same thing goes for the meta description. So this bit right here is my meta description. So for your website, you would go ahead and put that meta description right there. So the first option is to set it for your homepage. The next is kind of the template to use for different types of content on your website. So single post types, these are going to be right here, posts or pages. Okay, so by default, it's set to, with these variables, to use what you put as the post title. Now you can customize this on a post by post basis, and I'm going to show you. And then it will show a hyphen and then show the site title. You can change this if you want. If you didn't want it to show the site title at the end, you could just go like this and then remove it and it's gone. Okay, and the same thing goes for meta description, and the same thing goes for your pages. You can do it like that. So you get total control over your titles and your meta. Now really though, you're going to set those on a post by post and a page by page basis anyway, but you could also globally set them here. Okay, so the archives, this is for your author archives. Now this is best to have disabled. So by default right here, it's set to no index. I would also recommend on this to check this box to disable the author archives. It's kind of like a zombie page. It's not going to bring any SEO value or convenience to anyone that's on your website. I'd recommend go ahead and disable that. And it's also a security concern having that in there. It's a default thing that WordPress does. So I would just recommend checking that box to disable it. Okay, you have date archives with the posts that you create on your website. And so by default, it's set to no index. For me, would also disable this kind of archive because it brings no value and it kind of dilutes the potency of your website and the content on your website. I'd go ahead and disable that. Search archives, you can leave that as is. So if someone does a search, if you have a search field available and someone does a search, that page, the title for it's going to be the name of the keyword and then the site title. I would just leave that the way that it is. And also your 404 archive page, you have control over that as well. Okay, so next we're going to go to taxonomies, and these are going to be the SEO values for your category pages. So if you're categorizing blog posts, and it's also going to be the tag pages if you're adding tags to your various blog posts. So let's take a look at this. You have the same thing. You have control over how it's going to look for categories. So you can go with the default template if you want, or put something in there that you want and maybe mix in this variable here, the category title. These are just what could be referred to as a merge tag. So because this is right here, this means it's going to pull the category title in. It's not going to say this, it'll pull the name in of the category. Okay, so I like to leave the category the way that it is, but tags is a little different. If you're using tags, it's pages and content that has little to no value for Google, and it just adds to the total page count of your website, and it kind of dilutes things as well. So on this, I would suggest putting in this checkbox here for no index. This will instruct Google to not, or any search engine to not index these tag pages themselves. And also by checking this box, it'll also remove it from the sitemap that the plugin is going to generate for your website. website. And lastly, we have the advanced options right here. And this is where on a global level, you could set for nothing to be indexed on your website. So if I check this box that's telling a search engine, please don't index any of the content here. Same thing with no follow, these various options here. So be very careful here because you could have some kind of an unintended consequence. So now if I go into the professional version, you're going to see it's identical. So everything that we went through just now, I've got all the options right here. I'm in the pro version. It's all the same options. Now, if you were to have custom post types on your website that you're creating, it's kind of a technical thing. You would have options for those as well listed out here. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the sitemap. I got to say they have the most generous sitemap feature. Most SEO plugins only have just your standard sitemap, but with the SEOPress, you're getting an image sitemap as well. And if you have the pro version, you can get a video sitemap with it as well. So first we'll click on the general tab here, and we have these options here. There's going to be a little bit of a difference right here. So we're going to see that here I can enable on the professional version the video sitemap if I wanted to, just by checking here. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to do that, and that should give me an additional option later on that we're going to see. All right. So here we are. So that was the one little setting difference that you got to see. Now first we have these options here. You can click on this button to actually view your sitemap. And here's something that I love about this plugin that I don't know why all the other SEO plugins don't do this. So what happens a lot when people add an SEO plugin to their website and they try to view the sitemap, it'll say not found. And that's because you have to do something called resetting or flushing your permalinks. Well, they've added a convenience feature where if you are clicking right here to view your sitemap and it doesn't pull up, just click on flush permalinks like that, and it's going to pull right on up for you. I love that they added that, as a matter of fact, because that's something that new people to SEO plugins run into all of the time. Okay, so right here you can choose to enable the sitemap. So if you don't already have a sitemap plugin, you absolutely want a sitemap for your website. But what's cool is it'll also create an image sitemap. So if you go to Google and right here and you click on images, it's actually not given, there it is, images. You click on here, then the images on your website could be indexed there if that's something that you wanted to. Okay, and then there's also the HTML sitemap. I need to enable this on my own website. Essentially, it's going to give you a little short code you can put on a particular page that you would create, and it's going to have this very visually nice sitemap that someone can actually visit and find the different pieces of content on your website. Because these XML sitemaps, they're for a search engine, they're not for a visitor on your website because it just doesn't look good at all. Okay, so let's start going through these tabs. So essentially we're going to get control over what's included in this sitemap. Okay, so right here you can uncheck any type of content that you don't want included. And this would be if you have something, for example, with me, I have a learning management system, Lifter LMS, and it creates a custom post type for lessons. Well, I am protecting those. I don't want those in the sitemap. So that's an example of some content that you wouldn't want in the sitemap. You'd come here and uncheck those options. Okay, and taxonomies, this as well, you would want to, for me, I don't want my tags indexed at all. So I'd come in here and uncheck that so that didn't make it into the sitemap. And then right here we have the HTML sitemap options. So essentially it's saying you take this short code and create a page and maybe call it user sitemap or something like that. You pop in this short code, and then what's going to happen, it's going to show everything out in a visual nature. But you get options right here to exclude certain bits of content if you wanted to do that, and you get this option right here. I think this is a fantastic feature that you might benefit from. Okay, and let me just go ahead and verify that everything else is the same and everything else is the same. So far we're all synced up. Okay, except for in Pro, I enabled the video sitemap. That's going to be an option on a page-by-page and post-by-post basis. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on social network. I'll do that on both of these so we can go through those at the same time. This is another example of where they're going to be the same settings. Okay, so what this is going to give you the option to set some information about your website and your business. And these are just simple settings. You just fill them out. Okay, so the first thing right here is this website for a person or an organization? You're popping your logo in, you're putting the name of you or the organization, you're putting all that here. So you're just filling information out. And so next we'll click on social accounts, and again we're just filling information out. This is a knowledge graph. We're given this information. It's right here. We're giving it to search engines that come to the website. So right here we're just going to be plugging in links to various social networks. Next is Facebook Open Graph data. So what that is, and I just had a video recently about why you need an SEO plugin. So if someone takes a link to a piece of your content, pastes it on Facebook, Facebook then goes and gets some information from your website. And what do they get? They try to get an image, and they get a title, and they get a little bit of meta description. So right here is going to give you the option to select a default image if you wanted. And you can also link this up with some Facebook related stuff. This is not something that you have to do. I've actually never done it. So it says Facebook link ownership ID, admin ID, and app ID. I can't even tell you the real benefit of having those because I've never added that to any of my websites. But this is going to give you the opportunity to have these as options when you're in a post or a page, and I'll show you that when we get there. But it will also give you a chance to put some defaults in, and the same exact information here is for Twitter. If you want this information and these options available on a page by page or post by post basis, you can have this on or off here. And right here it's saying if you don't want to put the Twitter information in, just pull it from the Facebook information. I would definitely recommend leaving that as is. Unless, we'll get to that in a moment, the poster page when we're actually putting this information in. But this is giving you the options for your defaults. Okay, next let's go to Google Analytics options right here. And then we're going to do this as well in the paid version, and we will just compare the two. So the only difference is when you're adding the Google Analytics and you have the Pro version, and if you wanted to do the Google Analytics, there's this option here for there to be stats in the dashboard. That's the only difference here. So what's really nice about this SEO plugin, including Google Analytics, is that's probably one less plugin you need to have on your website, right? Anyways, right here, if you're not going to use Google Analytics through this plugin, just go ahead and toggle it off. Okay. All right. So right here, you would check this box to enable it, pop in your Google Analytics tracking ID. And what's nice is there's a link here that's going to take you to where you can actually find that. It's actually super easy to do that. And then there's a bunch of really nice options here for the Google Analytics integration on your website. So the first one right here is to make it a little more GDPR friendly. So you can check that box right here. And this is actually something I didn't realize the plugin did, but you might already have an existing solution. So it's going to give you the option to have a message asking the person that visits your website to consent to the tracking information being collected. So this is more GDPR compatibility. I like that this is all there. It just shows the developer wants to be able to enable you to be GDPR compliant if that's what you want. Okay, you have control over the button, and here is some exclude user rules from tracking. So I'd recommend definitely checking on administrator. By doing this, Google Analytics will not be tracking your usage, because if you're using your website, it's not the data that you want in your analytics. Okay, so then you have a bunch of tracking parameters here where you can just check boxes and things can automatically start being done for you. It makes things easy. So I can check this box right here to enable remarketing. This is if you want to do remarketing. Someone visits your website, you want to toss an ad their way when they're on a different website. Well, that's remarketing. So we've got that. IP address anonymization. This is more GDPR stuff right here. Enhanced link attribution and cross-domain tracking. Cross-domain tracking is when you have a separate, like a subdomain for maybe your store or your membership area, and you want the same tracking across the two domains. You can enable this right here. That's some really pretty advanced stuff. You don't usually see that as much in the default Google Analytics code that you'd put on your website or some of the plugins. And right here you can track external links. So when there's a link that clicks out, you can track that. You can track when someone downloads a document, and you can put the document extension here, PDF, docx, which is a Word document or a PowerPoint, whatever. And then right here, if you're using an affiliate link shortener plugin on your website that has kind of a slug, so this would be, I don't use it, but an example would be WPCrafter.com/go/SEOPress. If I was doing that, I could track it. I don't do that, but if you're doing that, you can click this box and you could put what that little slug is. In that example, it would have been go. Could pop that right in there. And then you have some custom dimension stuff right here. This is more advanced Google Analytics related stuff. What's crazy is this is all in this free plugin. And if you noticed, everything we looked at in the free plugin, I didn't see really any nags to buy it. There's only a nag in one location, and that's when I look at the plugin listing right there. I'll show you that in a moment. But this is everything is all in the free version. It's that good. Let me just show you that quick plugin nag or upgrade nag, and that's it right there. Red GoPro. That's it. That's the only time he's asking you to buy it. This is a great plugin. Okay, so let's jump into the settings here so I can just blast through them, and then we're going to go into the most important part of the plugin. Really is the individual settings on a post by post or page by page basis. Okay. So I'm going to continue. So now we have some additional options. So we went over advanced, we went over tools, and here's the bot option. So this is all pro. I'm going to spend just like 2 or 3 minutes on it. So what this is going to do is automatically, if you wanted to scan all the content of your website to find errors with links, and so you can request the bot, it's going to go ahead and scan everything, and this is going to, if you have a simple website that maybe has always had 10 pages, it's not going to find anything probably unless there's some kind of typo error. But if you have an active site where you're constantly adding and changing content, that's my website. It becomes a bear to manage. So what this bot does is it's going to find, it says right here, it's going to scan the links to find errors, which is something very good. And then you have a little bit more granular control here of how many posts or pages it will scan in a batch, and also which types of content you might want to include or exclude from being scanned. And you have all these options right here. The next option is to pop in your license. I haven't even done that here. Next is the Pro options, and this is going to be kind of like the settings panel for the Pro version. There are 3 more tabs here of options, but this is where a lot of the stuff is going to be. So right here is to add the information if you're a local business, to add that information. And like I said, this is just filling stuff out so that when a search engine comes to your website, they're going to have as much information on it as possible. The Dublin Core, this is related to meta tags. You could just leave this enabled. Structured data. Now this is going to be something that we're going to have, if it's on, we're going to have additional options when we go to create a blog post, and I'm going to show you what that is. I'm going to leave this enabled, of course, but if you're not going to use structured data, you could turn it off. So right here, what you'd want to first do is check this box and add your logo, the logo that you're using on your website. But we're going to look into what that structured data is in just 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, breadcrumbs, we'll leave this enabled. Here's WooCommerce. Now we're not seeing any options here because I don't have WooCommerce installed on the website, but it's going to be very similar options to allow you to set the various metadata information for WooCommerce, as well as easy digital downloads. Okay, we have a page speed option right here. And what this is going to do is just trigger the website being analyzed for a page speed test. That's it. And then you can click this right here and it's going to send the report to you. I probably wouldn't use this much. You have control over your robots.txt file. You don't know what that is, definitely turn this off. Most people will not need to go into their robots.txt file. Next is that Google News. Did you want it on? So if you did turn it on like this, what it's going to do is enable the options. Here's to view the sitemap. Here's to flush the permalinks if you try to view the sitemap and you can't see it. Here's where it's going to add it to the sitemap right here. You plug in, just fill it out, your publication name right here, and the type of content that would be included as Google News. And for most people, that's just going to be posts. We're almost done here with our options. Here's our 404 page options. You can enable this or disable this. What this is going to do is keep a log of those 404s. A 404 is someone comes to a page on your website that doesn't exist. It sends them to this 404 page. This gives you some nice control. Number one, it's going to monitor it. Number two, well, this is for when it's monitoring it. If an entry that it's found a 404 error on, it'll delete it after 30 days. This is good maintenance. Next, you have some options. If someone was to get a 404, would you want to redirect them? Do you want to send them to the home page or a custom URL? Maybe you create a new page saying, oh, hey, sorry, that wasn't there. Here's a search box instead, or some other content that you might like. So you can do all of that right here. And if you wanted to, you could check this box and it will send you an email notification when you have someone hitting a 404 page. So you could do that and pop your email address in right there. That's our 404. Here's the HT access control. And this is another one of those things. If you do not know what it is, I'd recommend not messing with this. A lot of the plugins that you might add to your website, including the SEO plugin and security plugins, they're automatically going to add entries to your .htaccess file. Rarely are you going to need to get into that, but sometimes you might need to for troubleshooting purposes. But you can get yourself into trouble by messing with that too much. Okay, RSS feed, that's, a data feed. I use something called, I think it's like Feedly or something like that. And so you can control what is in your data feeds. This is probably a subject for its own video, but you can have a little content before. You can restrict how much content is actually in your RSS feed, which is actually usually a good deal. What happens is, if you ever seen a site that's just sucking in content from other websites, where they're taking their RSS feeds and whatever those websites push out in their RSS feeds, these sponge websites just suck it all in and republish it without their permission, and it's a bit of a problem. This gives you some control over that. Obviously, you don't have full control over that. Okay, backlinks. This requires a Majestic integration. That's something you pay for. You'll get an API key, and it's going to list out all the backlinks to your website. So the feature's there, but the service is not free. Okay, URL rewriting. I would also recommend on this feature to leave it as off. Okay, we only have 3 more features to go before we go into a post or a page. Okay, Pro version gives you the ability to set up redirects. If you're just going to use the free version, there's plugins for adding redirects. So right here, you just click on add a redirect. And so what a redirect is say you had a piece of content and you wanted to redirect anyone that goes to that URL to someplace else. That's a redirect. So right here, enter the old URL. Right here, enter the new URL. You can enable it and then choose the type of redirect that you wanted. So you can do that in this SEO plugin. I think it's great. You can actually also import your redirects right here, and you can also export your redirects. Right here for the broken links, this is going to trigger the scanning for those broken links on your website, and it will list out all that information right here so that you can go ahead and fix it. Okay, and here's the backlinks. This is that list if you had Majestic integrated to see all the backlinks to your website. So that is that. Next, one of the main things you're going to do with an SEO plugin is you're going to set the metadata for each piece of content. So I have one post here, and I actually have the post on both websites. So let's go ahead and see what that's like. And there's some really neat features in the Pro version for this, but there's everything you need already is going to be in the free version. Okay, so I have the same article on both of these. Now when you scroll down, this is what you get right here, these 2 boxes. Right here it says SEO, and there's these tabs. And then right here it says content analysis. So essentially you would pop in your keyword here, it would analyze your content and then give you some suggestions. I gotta say, out of all the time I've had websites, I've never used content analysis once in my life, and I don't think I'm going to be doing it anytime soon. Okay, so let's first go ahead and take a look at these options. Now, what's nice is this is where on a page by page or post by post basis, you can set that title. So the title, like I said, is what you see right here, and then this is the description, and you can customize this on a post by post basis, and you're definitely going to want to do that. So if you just wanted it to take the title of the blog post, you can do that. It's going to do that automatically. That's why it says what is the fastest SEO plugin, or you can click in here and change it. Now what this is giving you a preview of what it's actually going to look like on Google. So here is my title, and it's showing it here, and then the meta description, it just automatically pulls the first certain amount of characters from the blog post. So you can see right here it says increasing the WordPress memory limit. If I scroll up here, increasing the WordPress memory limit, it has that right there. Let's actually put that in our clipboard. Okay. And so that's pretty much it. And you could go ahead and customize this. This is the most important thing that you could do for SEO. And what I've always advised is to make this juicy. I mean, this is where the whole art of writing, of copywriting comes in. If someone's doing a search and your website, the link to the piece of content on your website's listed there, you've got to write something here that's going to give someone a reason to click. And you have plenty of opportunities. So right here, you typically want your keyword that you're going after for this piece of content. You want it in the title, and you also want it in the description here. But you get full control over taking that little extra step and putting it in here, okay, versus letting it choose automatically. All right, and then we have this advanced tab here. So if this particular piece of content you didn't want indexed by a search engine, you check this box and you have similar options right here as well. Next is how do you want it to look for social media? So when someone takes a link to this piece of content, pops that sucker in Twitter or Facebook, what information do you want to show? What image do you want it to show? What title, what little bit of description do you want it to show? You get full control over that with this plugin. So right here's for Facebook. You can put a title and a description. Now check this out. If you don't put anything in here, you know what's going to happen? It's just going to pull in what you had here. For me, honestly, I really don't take that extra step to go and fill it in for the social media as well, because I figure it's just going to be the same thing that I want here is the same thing I'm going to want here. So I never even fill this out to begin with. But anyways, you can plug it in here if you wanted something different. If you wanted a customized thumbnail for Facebook, you do it here. And the same goes for Twitter right here. That's just how I do things. Okay, and if you wanted to redirect this post to someplace else, now this is nice. It gives you this option in the free version. We're still in the free version. I can just enable it and put a link here. So if I wanted this to go someplace else, it's super easy. Next, let's pop the information into the content analysis. So I copied a little bit. I should have. Nope, I didn't. So let me go ahead and take this little bit of code right here, and I'm going to paste it in to the content analysis, and let's see what it says right here. So analyze the content. Oops, let me click that there. It's just going to take a second. Now I've got to save my post or just click on update, and it should show the analysis down there. Let's see, I'm going down here. And here's the content analysis. So it's going to just do some standard analysis on what you have in the post content, the title, the content, and all of that, and start making suggestions. So you could just go through and follow all these suggestions if you want. Like I said, I don't usually do this. Then it's going to have a couple other options here for your configuration. It's going to have this here for your images. Now I don't have any images, but if I did have images that did not have alt tags, it would give me a notice here. And then right here, if there was links, it would give me some information based upon the links. Now these options are going to be the same options that you see over in when you're creating a page, or if you have a piece of custom post type. And that's pretty much what's involved with SEO optimizing your page or post. But let me show you some really interesting things in the pro version. So if you're only going to have the free version, this might interest you, so it's worth paying attention. Okay, so I've got the same post right here the same bit of information. So we're going to have some additional options here that we didn't have. So we have the same title, the same advanced, social, redirection. This is all the same. But here's for our Google News. So if I wanted to exclude this from Google News, I could put this here or that's there. Google News is a great source of traffic if you put up a good amount of content on your website. And then right here's for the video sitemap. So if I had a video in here and I wanted it added to a specific sitemap for video, right here is where I would add that information. So right here, I'd put the information about the video, links to the video, and upload an image for the video, a thumbnail if I wanted to. I'd have full control over all of that right here. Okay, let's scroll and let's go back to title. Let's scroll down here. And this is one of the things that I really like about the paid version. And this is a feature I would use. So you pop your target keyword in, but it has this Google suggestion. So if you ever searched anything on Google and then you scrolled all the way down, it showed a couple other suggested related terms, search terms, and you could just click on it. Well, what they've integrated in the Pro version is pulling that information in. So if I pasted in this phrase, WordPress memory limit, and then I clicked on Get Suggestion, you can see just took a split second. It gives me other keyword phrase suggestions. So WordPress memory limit 40M, WordPress memory limit error. And the reason it does this is you would be able to get more traffic to the piece of content that you're creating if you incorporated more of what these related terms are. So these are called long tail keyword phrases. So my keyword phrase is WordPress memory limit, but people are searching these. So if I would include a little paragraph organically about a plugin about it right there, or include this 40 MB, this is making suggestions that I might not have already thought of longer tail phrases that I would want to organically include inside this article in order for it to be suggested when people are making these search terms right here, using these, making these searches. I gotta say, this is one of the convenience features that I really like about this plugin, that it has it right here. Obviously, I could go to Google and I can search this in Google, and that'd be the free way, and that's totally fine too. But I just find this so convenient to have it right here as well. So now when we scroll down a little bit more, we actually get another option box for structured data types, and this is what's going to add those rich snippets. So let me show you. There's a list here of the different types of structured data that they offer. Now I have several videos on structured data. That's when you are doing a search in Google and you're seeing more information there. Maybe it's review stars, maybe it's a product price, something along those lines, recipe, how long it takes to complete a recipe, event details. So this plugin actually gives you some of those options right here. So the types of schema that are available is article, course, recipe, video, event, and product. So if I was making a page about an event and their specific dates, I can go in here, I can choose event, and it gives me a little bit of information about it, some pointers, and then right here I can start adding all this information, the date of the event, the time, the location, all that kind of stuff. So what this does is it hands Google all this info on a silver platter so that when Google's compiling their search results, it can also take some of that information and show it here before someone even clicks through on your website. So you don't have to have an additional plugin for that. In full disclosure, I do use WP Schema Pro on my website because there's some advanced features that it does that this doesn't do. But this is great if you just want to start tiptoeing in and you might not need the more powerful plugin. This is an additional great value that they add to the plugin. So that is, in a nutshell, SEOPress. And a lot of the same options you saw here for a post is also going to be on a page, and it will be on products. If you have WooCommerce, it'll be on all of that. Now, if we're here on their website, I want to point you to something. If you did want to buy it, it's only $40. I think the price is going to go up to maybe $60 later in the year per year. It's unlimited installations. Visit WPCrafter.com/SEOPress. But what I wanted to show you was right here underneath support, there are some articles. So there's some guides frequently asked questions, you get your change log, and you get all this other stuff right here. So you might want to check out the guides. It's pretty good. It tells you more information about analytics, appearance, all this stuff. It's all just listed out here. So if there's any bit of information that I might have left out or not gone over in enough detail in this video, you could go ahead and just check it out right here, and you'll have that information there available for you. I got to say, SEOPress is a joy to work with. I'm sure you noticed the interface is very simple and clean, lightweight and fast. It gives you plenty of granular control. It doesn't quite feel as complicated and overwhelming as a lot of the other SEO plugins. Most of it is really just filling out the information. That's really all it is filling out the information that it's asking for. So anyways, if you have any additional questions about this plugin, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to answer those. If you found value in this video, if you would consider giving it a thumbs up, remember to subscribe to the channel and click on that notification bell. That's the way you're going to find out when I've uploaded new videos, is when you click on that bell. Hey, thank you for spending this time with me today, and I will see you in the next video.